The official tampering period starts Monday for a new round of NFL free agency. The Arizona Cardinals will be looking to re-sign some of their own free agents, but knowing Steve Keim, I would expect them to target at least one big name outside the organization. James Conner, Zach Ertz, and Max Williams top my list of the free agents that the Cardinals need to bring back. I know I didn't include Chandler Jones and Christian Kirk, but trust me, I'm going to get to that. As it stands right now, the Cardinals have about $5.5 million in cap space, which means to free up any more, they're going to have to restructure some of the existing contracts. So if you see restructuring of big contracts in the upcoming days, I'm mostly looking at DJ Humphries, then it could signal how aggressive the Cardinals plan to be in free agency. General Manager Steve Keim has been fairly aggressive in free agency the past few years. The acquisition of J.J. Watt is obviously the headliner of the group, but the Cardinals have also added players like A.J. Green, Jordan Phillips, Terrell Suggs, just to name a few. Maybe not all great signings, but recognizable names nonetheless that were hoped to be impactful players. So the first of the players I think the Cardinals have to bring back is James Conner. Let's get into it. James Conner is a great example of a player that just makes no sense not to bring back. Unfortunately, both of the top two running backs on the team last season, Conner and Chase Edmonds, are free agents. They are two very different backs, and while they both contributed a great deal to the team, Conner's production will be much harder to replicate, which means he needs to be the priority. His 15 rushing touchdowns in 2021 are certainly the flashy number that brings focus on why Conner needs to return. He rushed for 752 yards, which at first glance isn't that impressive, but you have to keep in mind that Edmonds took a large part of the first and second down snaps and added 592 yards of his own. Conner was dangerous in third down situations and a threat in the passing game, where he added another 3 touchdowns and 380 yards. But clearly, the greatest upside of Conner is his ability in goal line situations. In 2019 and 2020, the Cardinals struggled in close goal line situations as they lacked a big-bodied back to ram the ball home. Conner provided that in spades. His longest rushing touchdown was 18 yards, and the vast majority came from under 4. In fact, his touchdown runs averaged 4.86 yards. Having that goal line specialist was a boon to the Cardinals in 2021, and his receiving ability shined with multiple highlight reel catches, including a fabulous 45-yard touchdown catch from Colt McCoy in Week 9. James Conner is simply a must re-sign free agent. If that requires letting Chase Edmonds walk, I would be comfortable letting James Conner and Eno Benjamin be the 1-2 punch and provide the varied running back styles that Cliff Kingsbury seems to prefer working with. PFF's contract projection for Conner currently stands at 2 years, $6.5 million average value. For the touchdown production that Conner provides, this is a price I would be very comfortable with. Bring Conner back. Zach Ertz is the second free agent that I really want to see Arizona bring back. I prefer to think of Ertz in historical terms. The Arizona Cardinals have struggled heavily with finding tight end production that fits well into an offense. This isn't just a problem with the Cliff Kingsbury era of the Cardinals, but this weird overarching franchise issue. General consensus would consider Jackie Smith the best tight end in Cardinals history. His best season came in 1967 with 1,205 yards and 9 touchdowns. Let me repeat that year for you. 1967. His career with the Cardinals ended in 1977, and ever since the team has been in tight end purgatory. I'm going to take a moment and let you try and think of a great Arizona Cardinals tight end beyond Smith. It's okay. Take some time. So this brings me to Zach Ertz. He was traded from Philadelphia to Arizona in October of 2021. In the 11 games he played in red, he had 574 yards and 3 touchdowns. Beyond that, he accounted for 30 first downs and quickly became a safety blanket for Kyler Murray in the middle of the field, an area he has historically struggled with. Do you know the last Cardinals tight end to finish a season with more than 574 yards? I'm going to give you a second, but I think you know this in your heart. Jackie Smith. In 1970, he had 600 yards over a full season. Ertz might not be the game wrecker that he once was in Philadelphia, but the Super Bowl winner still brings great value to the Arizona Cardinals. As I mentioned, Murray seems to be very comfortable getting the ball in his hands in the middle of the field and in the intermediate passing attack, an area that I think is going to have a huge impact on the development of our young quarterback. PFF projects Ertz's market value at 2 years, $20 million. It is a bit steep for a 31-year-old tight end, but a reasonable price for a player who can still change the way the passing game is called and provides great production. The third and last player I want the Cardinals to prioritize is Max Williams. It might seem a little strange that I would prioritize re-signing 2 tight ends, but hear me out. Williams provides something different but totally complementary to what Ertz brings to the team. PFF has a great summary on Max Williams' free agent profile that I think we should look at. While Williams has all the skills to be a number 1 tight end, we've never seen him as a high-volume pass catcher, and he struggled to stay on the field. However, Williams is one of the league's best run blockers, and he's sure-handed and capable of working the middle of the field as a number 2 option with number 1 tight end skills. That last part is the most important, a number 2 tight end with number 1 skill. Williams suffered a gruesome grade 3 LCL tear against the San Francisco 49ers in Week 5 of the 2021 season. Before that injury, he had been an important part of the team, particularly in the blocking game. Because of that, his impact is a bit harder to show solely through statistics. But one common stat that really does jump out is his 193 receiving yards in the first 5 games of 2021. Much like Ertz became a safety option for Murray, Williams was providing that very well before his injury. Generally, I wouldn't average yards per game and extrapolate out a season-long average, because so many different factors play in to each individual game and how that impacts a player's performance, but I think it would be good if we look at it. Mostly because I want to highlight what PFF meant when it said that Williams has number 1 tight end skill. If Williams had maintained his pace of 38.6 yards per game, and his injury had not necessitated the trade for Ertz, he could well have accumulated over 650 yards. This would have given him the 12th most receiving yards by a tight end in 2021. Not much when compared to some of the elite tight ends we see in the game today, but still very good production in a Kingsbury offense that is dominated by the wide receiver position. The combination of Williams and Ertz is something I really want to see on the field. Kingsbury is quite talented at play design, and he has not had the opportunity yet to design plays for 2 talented tight ends at the same time. Now, to quickly address 2 other big-name free agents on this roster, Chandler Jones and Christian Kirk, my thinking on that is pretty simple. I don't think the Cardinals can afford either one of them. Both Jones and Kirk will be able to get a lot of money on the free market, and I just don't think that the Cardinals are in a cap position in which they can afford to bring back one or both of them. Connor, Ertz, and Williams are all 3 options that I think will bring great production and value to the team and should be able to come back on relatively affordable contracts. Thank you so much for watching. We've gotten 48 subscribers since Sunday, and that is so much more than I was anticipating. A lot of the credit for that goes to my YouTube mentor and good friend, Joseph Camo, who has a great channel here on YouTube called The Cardinal Rule, which I heavily encourage any of you who aren't already subscribed to go there and do so. The link is going to be in the description below. If you enjoy these types of videos, please let me know. You can do that by liking the video and subscribing to my channel. And hey, if you don't, dislike the video, but please drop a comment below that tells me what I can do to make this a better experience for everyone. And stay tuned for a video tomorrow about free agents outside the Cardinals organization that I think would be a good target and would bring something to the team. Until next time.